Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to our Christmas special of Downright Annoyed with Movies. We are double streaming today, both on DNP and on Bored and Annoyed. Jackson, how you doing, buddy? Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. I'm doing well. And it was a weird Christmas because we didn't have anything to do, which was sad because you don't get to see a lot of people, but kind of nice because no obligations,
It's sad that we don't get to see a lot of people, but it was nice that we did have to see.
Yeah,
yeah. Lightweight, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do anything? Kind of. Did you get anything cool or what?
Well, yesterday we went to my folks' place, so there were a couple kids over there, and it was fun to watch them react. But the problem is nowadays, like anything I want, I just buy it on Amazon. So, I got a cool Joe Bob Briggs hosts a show on Shudder, and the wife got me a cameo, so that was a surprise to get a message from him. Yeah, so that was neat. That was probably my favorite thing. Also, you're old when the most exciting item I got was like a picture frame hanger / leveler deal, so that because it's always a pain in the ass to hang anything up. So like now that I got all excited about that. But awesome. How about yourself?
Obviously we're still in the middle of, this house renovation, but did get some cool things. I'm sure I'm a big cigar guy. Riley got me a couple good, nice cigars. I'm keeping with my Christmas tradition is everything I get her is also halfway a gift for me. So I also bought her an air fryer so she can make me some awesome food.
There you go. That's smart.
Yeah. But yeah, overall it was a fun Christmas. Same as you. I miss people, but it was kind of nice at the same time.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But
anyways, big reason why we're here, the premiere of Wonder Woman 84 or 1984, whatever it is, on HBO Max. I'm sure that's where most people watched it, right?
I would imagine. Yes. I did see some posts on social media of people at the theater, but in general, I would imagine most people watch it at home.
Yeah. Now you got your new setup. How'd it go?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it looked and sounded great. I won't spoil anything about the movie itself, but the experience of watching it at home was good. You do miss that, like everybody's jacked up, ready to see the movie, and there's kind of a feeling in the air when you're at the theater with like a full house or whatever. But in general, like I had I was worried. I watched it right when it dropped. I was worried that there would be stuttering or HBO would have problems. I know it's happened with Game of Thrones premieres, that sort of thing, but I had no issues whatsoever. So
yeah, I watched it a couple hours after the premiere, but yeah, same here. We watched it. We had no issues with HBO Max, which was nice. But I did miss that group, I guess, aspect of the theater. You know? And while it was nice to see a new movie, I miss the theater. I know theater, but it's just different when everybody's there.
No, there's like for instance, I mean, I've kind of gone sour on Star Wars movies over the last 3 or 4 years since The Force Awakens. I actually liked, but since then, but still, I would never want to see that opening crawl at the beginning of a Star Wars movie and not have that crowd around me that's excited and clapping or whatever. That's just not. I want to see those in the theater. So, yeah, and this is like that. So,
and, I mean, like this movie, it was there's a lot of hype behind this movie, especially since with the big success of the first one. It almost seems like that one was almost a reboot or not a reboot, but like not imagining, but the DC is coming back. It almost felt like with this movie, right? And so, yeah, the excitement was definitely here, and I wish we could have seen it in the theater. Anyways, so yeah, it's here. I got a couple guests here. Got a double cameo from Pinky's Out.
Yeah, Trouble is here.
Trouble is here.
Yes.
Trouble. How you doing? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas.
Ken, I'm happy. I'm not the only one not in any Christmas gear.
Oh,
happy someone. You already did the elf thing a week or two ago on the channel, so you're through it, I guess. Although you
didn't even get dressed today.
Yeah, there you go. No pants on?
No pants.
No pants? Perfect.
My kids love it. So
So how about you guys? How was your guys' movie experience without even getting into the movie?
Flawless on HBO Max. I was worried that it was going to crash because I figured about noon everybody'd be watching it. So we waited till 1:45 before we started it, just to give the servers a time to catch up, and hit play, Betty, and it went right through. So
nice.
I loved it. I hope they keep doing this because I probably won't ever go back to the theater except for big movies like Star Wars, or that you have to have the big screen for that first viewing. I agree with Jackson on that the lettering coming up on that big screen for Star Wars, even though I've been hating on Star Wars, the newer stuff a lot lately. You just got to see it that way.
Yeah. Andy?
I'm with Jackson, man. Not having that crowd around you, not being at the theater did take something away from it. For me, it did have a little bit less oomph to it. That being said, we go to the theater maybe 3 times a year for the big stuff. We prefer to watch at home. And congrats to HBO Max for a stutterless release. I had no video issues at all whatsoever. I, however, had lots of audio issues. We just recently upgraded it and did a whole home theater system in our basement for this exact purpose. This title was listed as Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, and we struggled to even hear conversations the first 10 minutes of the movie because the beginning of the Coliseum, it's so noisy and so loud, and the Dolby Atmos surrounds you and makes you really feel like you're in the Coliseum. When 2 major characters start talking in those first couple of minutes, I'm like, huh? I really am in the Coliseum. I can't hear him at all.
That's just your old age.
Yeah, you're getting old.
It's that old age. You can't pick up
Those
on
gray
it,
streaks.
But no, hey, welcome to the world of home audio, Andy, where every few months there's going to be something that happens like that, where it's going to drive you insane to the point where until you either just like forget about it and it just like space it out, or you figure out what's going on, it's going to drastically reduce your enjoyment of everything that you watch when it's happening.
Yeah,
we tested everything, and everything works fine on the other Dolby Atmos titles that we have been watching. Because come to find out, you mentioned there's a few articles out there that other people are having audio issues as well, and I feel like they may have rushed this to streaming faster than ideally what they should.
Yeah, and there's differences depending on which devices you're watching on. Or like I watched Fire TV. I was on my Fire Stick and it worked great. But I know they weren't like Xbox wasn't on the list of approved devices, but then apparently people could watch it on there. Some people only got some people could get 4K, but no Dolby Atmos if they were using like a Chromecast. So I don't think it's official what has what and what's going on with that. So I'm assuming they'll get that fixed. Because I know when Disney Plus came out, I was using the LG app on my smart TV, and that didn't have Dolby Atmos for like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. They'll figure it out, hopefully.
There was a couple of visual instances too where it really pushes beyond that 120 hertz capability in the Coliseum scene at the beginning. I noticed that. And I don't know if Samsung's doing anything beyond 120 hertz that's actually affordable right now, but I did see that come through a bit.
My TV's 5 years old. It handled it great. So
there you go.
And the Apple TV worked fine too. So
before we get into the movie, let's there's some folks in the chat. John's in the chat. Geez, here you go. Cool. Yeah, he's ready to defend this movie. Okay. Yeah, we had a little conversation earlier about that. Magic Lasso. Man, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. And let's see, hold on. What else did he say here? Shameless plug. My first reaction video to watching 84 just dropped last hour on my YouTube channel. Awesome, man. Hey, congratulations. Make sure everyone goes to check that out. So, Andy, you're kind of new to the movie review. How about we start with you? Maybe the first like 30 seconds or less. What do you give me a little rundown of what you thought?
Spoilers or no spoilers?
I say spoiler. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Okay. So in the title, they're attempting to deliver Wonder Woman 1984. Wonder Woman 84, right? Feel like they got halfway there. Gal Gadot will forever be my Wonder Woman. Holy hell.
Boo.
I love how they ended the movie with the post-credit scene. Stick around for the post-credit scene. But I don't feel like they delivered 1984 for me. I really don't. When you put that in the title of a movie, I expect a lot of focus and a lot of drive to deliver that because it's part of the title of the movie. And, 1984, they pumped everything out for this movie, brand new, crystal clear, polished, spit and shine, showroom floor. That wasn't the reality of the 80s. The 80s were a looking glass into the 70s because people made things last. They made things work. Not even the daily utility vehicles saw any look like they had been used daily. You know what I mean? The police cars, I mean, everything was spotless, like crystal clean. We're talking 1984, right? People didn't recycle in the 80s, and people publicly threw garbage out on the side of the street. I mean, vehicles were dirtier, everything was dirtier and grittier. The 80s were dirty and gritty. I kid you not. And this movie was like this fantasy spit and polish of the 1980s, which maybe that's what they were trying to deliver. But when I see 1984 in the title of the movie, I was kind of hoping to be transferred or transformed over into that 1980s feeling. Some of the product placement was pretty cool. They really kind of nailed it with a lot of the clothing and had some comedy about that. That was a lot of fun. That was way over 60 seconds though.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Ken.
I didn't like it. I didn't like the first Wonder Woman. I don't like this. Gal Gadot is fine as an actress. She's not my Wonder Woman. That's Linda Carter. It'll never change for me. I agree with Andy with some of the points with the 1984. That's been Steph and I have talked about this in the last few movies we watched that have been time periods, like the cars are spotlessly clean throughout the whole movie. Like, where's the reality? Joe Blow's car is not going to be polished to a gleam. Like the trucks at the airport when they stole the jet, those were like polished and gleaming. You're not going to find that for work trucks at an airport. I mean, I see the way these guys drive things at airports, moving planes and stuff into hangars. So,
All right, cool.
No, I didn't like the armor at the end. I thought, all she was missing was a mace, and let's just call her Hawk Girl. And then the cheetah chick ripping it apart. I'm like, okay, so a million Spartans can hammer on it, and it's pristine 10,000 years later. But yet Cheetah Girl can rip it apart. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. It was 2.5 hours, and I think you could have cut out an hour of it and been a better movie, quite honestly. And I was in DC when they were filming this. I was there on a trip with my daughter. So I saw, they had a big plaques blocked off filming that. And I don't know. I was disappointed. DC, other than Shazam, has not delivered a movie that I've liked in a long time. Like I want to say since the Batman, since
George Clooney.
Nolan's Batman.
Yeah, probably since then. I don't know. I wish I liked it. I wanted to, but I just thought it was garbage. I thought it was, Jackson, you're always talking about how you have to love the characters, right? I couldn't give a shit less about the characters, honestly. Chris Pines, he was okay. Like when he's trying on the clothes and putting on a fanny pack, it was funny for me to imagine, Captain Kirk wearing a fanny pack. So I was laughing about that in my head. But other than that, I couldn't care less about that movie.
All right, cool.
I'm glad I didn't pay for it.
You're up.
Yeah, I didn't really like it. I'm a huge fan of the first one. It's one of my favorite superhero movies ever. I think it's great. I get the feels. I'm emotionally invested in the first one. I really like the relationship between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's character in the first one. I think that they have awesome chemistry. I don't know how great of an actress Gal is, but she's got that something. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's not a good actor, but he's got that charm to him, right? And I feel like she has that like screen ability to just have a ton of charm. I just love her. But the movie I thought was, and we'll get into spoilers in the next round here, but I thought that there were huge mistakes as far as writing was concerned, like things that did not make much sense to me that were happening. I thought that like I liked the villain, I guess, overall, but it got so convoluted and nuts, and I hated the Jamie Foxx's Electro style villain, the secondary villain, Kristen Wiig's character.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the motivation of why she's bad and all that stuff just to me felt really stupid. I mean, am I going to say it's like a trash movie? Like I had no fun watching it? No, but I was extremely disappointed. I was very, very disappointed. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that were horribly impressed with this, to be honest. It's definitely not going to get the spark that Wonder Woman, the first one, did when it was in theaters, for sure. So that's my short, spoiler-free opinion, I guess.
Cool. Yeah. I tend to agree with Jackson and Ken. It was, for me, talking about a lot of the characters, you don't get emotionally invested in anybody, and I almost feel like the acting was extremely subpar, even for Gal Gadot. I actually, on the flip side, Ken, I do believe that I think one of the best parts of the movie was Chris Pine, just trying to make him from going from like, what was it, the 40s all the way to or it was the 40s or 20s from Wonder Woman 1. I can't remember.
Well,
but
then the 20s, World War One. Yeah.
Yeah, the 20s.
So that time,
okay.
all the way to the 80s. I thought that was probably the most fun that I saw. But there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to get into that will contain a lot of spoilers. But yeah, the plot and the writing was, man, it was tough for me to really get through this. We actually took a little bit of a break halfway through the movie because we had to do some other Christmas stuff, and it was a very welcome break. And I was almost dreading coming back. I didn't want to really finish it.
And that's in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Yeah.
I almost feel like, damn, if I was in the theater, I'd be forced to actually watch this thing the whole way through. And I didn't even know that there was a post-credit scene, Andy. So I'll have to go back.
I bailed.
I would even take a moment to watch the post-credit scene, like now, if you can pull it up on a side screen. Anybody viewing or anybody watching it, it's 30 seconds and it adds a lot.
Okay. All right. But I don't like that either, having to have a 30-second thing at the very end, make the movie better for me.
I'm not a post-credit scene guy. I just don't like put it in your fucking movie.
Yeah,
I don't
if it's
know.
that important, I want to see the damn
Well,
thing.
it wasn't important. It was a nice nod to Wonder Woman fans, I would say, right? I mean,
I was trying to get people to go do it without giving them spoilers. Just go do it really quick.
Yeah.
But, so I guess, do you want to get into spoilers right now?
Yeah, I mean, I do.
I feel like the whole movie's a spoiler.
After you.
I felt okay as soon as Chris Pine came back and they did this thing where it's not really Chris Pine, but he has inhabited another person's body. Yeah. As soon as that happened, first I was confused because I'm like, okay, there's no way they're doing this where like she's just seeing him as Chris Pine, but it's not actually him. There's no way they're doing this because the fact that they're not having a conversation about like, okay, the morality of the fact that this person you took over no longer exists. You've taken his ability to survive and live out of his hands. Like that just makes Wonder Woman a selfish bitch, in my opinion. Like right there, the movie's broken for me because they don't even really deal with that at all. It's like if she could, he would just stay. And the only reason that he doesn't is because she needs to get her powers back and you have to give something to get something or whatever. But there's not even you couldn't think of a better way to just, why can't he just come back? Everything else that happens due to the wish stone just happens. It's not like it was so stupid. So that immediately broke that for me. I mean, stuff like the stone itself, the girl has the stone, Kristen Wiig's character, and the bad guy, who I actually thought was pretty charming and good as the villain. I thought he was pretty good. Pedro Pascal, our Mandalorian. But he like goes and like makes out with her and like, you know, bangs her in her office or whatever. And there's a very clear scene where he like swipes the stone and steals it. And I'm like, oh, like she wouldn't notice that he stole that. And then later she's like, oh, I gave it to him.
In your pocket.
Well, then she says she gave it to him. And it's like, who wrote this? Because that's not what you showed me earlier. Like he very clearly stole the thing in the scene. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in here.
I kind of want to piggyback off of your Chris Pine, actually all of Chris Pine. Even though I said I thought he was the best part of the movie, him being in the movie kind of negates the entire emotional thing that happened in Wonder Woman 1. It's like, I feel like it was almost a cop-out that they couldn't bring in a whole nother person or character, someone else that maybe she could be, emotionally invested by it, other than Chris Pine. It just, it almost ruins the first movie for me a little bit.
Well, and it was so, I don't know, at the end where she's learning to fly and she's hearing his words in her mind, it's like, are you kidding me? That's all it takes for her to start flying is, oh, just feel the air. Oh, let it flow over you. Like,
I don't know. Like, that's fine. That's fine.
No,
and
it was lame. It was lame.
The fact that Chris Pine is in there, I think, ends up being okay, Mike, to your point, because the whole idea is that she can't have him back. So, like, I get that, but yeah, the fact that he's in another person's body, and it's hilarious to me. I don't know.
And it wasn't even like a coma body. Like,
right? No, it's like literally this nice, friendly guy who's just, as far as we know, is like a decent dude who didn't do anything to anyone. All of a sudden doesn't exist. You know, and there's the fact, and I know I'll probably get crap for this, but does every man in the movie have to be a piece of shit? I mean, literally everyone that the characters walk past, every guy is like making snide comments or checking out their asses or whatever, and like leave it. You know, obviously, I'm not perfect.
The hobo didn't.
Oh,
well, okay, fine. So the hobo, so you've got the hobo, and you've got Chris Pine. But in general, every public place that they were going, like all of the guys were like monsters.
And it was July, and they were all wearing trench coats. I'm sorry, July in DC is hot and muggy as balls.
I don't know. This one just I'm sorry, but how you've got a scene with like a rapist guy in the Central Park type area of DC or whatever, the National Mall area. You've got literally guys just making snide comments and hitting on them everywhere they go. And I don't doubt that the girls that are, you know, good looking don't get hit on or whatever, but like I could put on one hand, I can count the number of like male characters in the movie that didn't seem like chauvinistic pricks. And I don't know. I just don't think that's reality.
No.
So
the only cool part was the ride the lightning part. Quite honestly, that was the only part I started getting a little exciting when she's like lassoing lightning. I kind of giggled because that was ridiculous, but it was still kind of cool watching her, you know, swing on lightning. I'm like, oh, look, she's Spider-Man now.
I'm confused with that though, because can she fly? I don't even remember Wonder Woman ever being able to fly.
She can't
later
fly.
iterations.
You're like the comic book guy, I think, out of all four of us.
Not to my knowledge. I don't have a lot of experience with Wonder Woman actually, so I'm kind of a terrible reference for this, but
well, you have enough experience to know that in Batman vs Superman and Justice League in the future from this movie, she doesn't fly.
Right, and well,
she forgot the love words. She forgot to feel the air.
Also, it's been 6. I know we all have people we love in our life. I understand this. Okay.
But
it's been 60. It's been 60 years. Like,
that's a long time to go without.
60 years. Like, she knew the guy, and I know, I get it. It's they're the love of each other's life or whatever. But now you've broken the franchise moving forward because it's like, okay, in 20 more years in Batman vs Superman or Justice League or whatever it was, she's still hung up on this guy. At that point, it's been 80 or 90 years. Like, come on. It's just dumb. It's dumb.
Well, she hit on that dude with the female blouse at the end and the scarf.
That was the guy originally that Chris Pine took over. He
Yes.
just showed back up.
Yeah. She didn't hit on him though. She was just like,
Yeah,
"Oh, he's a friendly guy." I was willing to take his life.
Yeah.
So it's very apparent to me
They
that
did
you
your
guys,
body when you weren't aware.
you guys had a much different movie experience than I did. I went into this with very low expectations. I have not seen number 1 yet, which I'm going to watch tonight. And I sat down, and that first opening, 5, 6, 7, 8 minute scene with the Coliseum, I could have done a whole movie of that. And then when they click and move forward to 1984, I was like, at that point on, I just felt like I was a popcorn flick, kind of action flick.
They also made a huge mistake there from a filmmaking perspective because they start off with like an opening action sequence and they roll right into another action sequence. And that is just like, give us a moment. Like, the mall action sequence was like, what? Why are you just had your exciting opening salvo for the movie. Like you show the title screen and then you go right into another action scene. At that point, I'm already numb. I don't really give a shit what's going on in the second action scene. But yeah, it seems like they should have either taken that opening scene and put it somewhere else in the movie as a flashback or something, or they should have just they needed a scene or two after that to really like, pump more juice into the whole, like, I mean, the movie's message is pretty good. Basically, like, nothing's given to you. You have to earn it. You can't cheat. You can't lie. I kind of like all that stuff, but
yeah, and then she breaks it the first chance she gets. Yeah. Stone.
Before I get into what I want to say, I kind of agree with John here because he says that she lives far longer lifespan, therefore her understanding of time would be different of yours and mine. I guess I can kind of get that because
it's a fair point. It's a fair point.
It's fair. Yeah, so going back to the kind of overall message of the movie, I still can't help but think that opening scene when she's a little girl and she, was about to win by, I guess, cheating, kind of, but she kind of fell off her horse. Not really. Me personally, I don't think that's cheating, but I felt like that entire sequence was useless. You could have done away with that entire first sequence, and the message would still have gotten across. I don't see.
You're right. That the opening sequence is confusing about the armor because they make this big deal about earning the right to wear that armor, and then she doesn't win by cheating, right? But then all of a sudden she's got it in 1984. And
that's the point of the because I thought was that what you won if you won that? I thought
I didn't catch that.
I
thought
there was a
statue of the person that was like.
No, that was the armor that was coming up. The statue had the armor on it.
I'd have to go back and look at that because I counted that kind of as a contest of champions.
Yeah, and it was to prove yourself worthy of wearing the armor. But so I think they should have had a flashback to her earning that armor, and it shouldn't have just been under a bunch of crap in a closet. I mean, it's a sacred object to their culture, and it's just wrapped in rags in a closet.
I want to address that comment you just threw on the screen quick, if I could, Mike. If you find the right person, you'd mourn them. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, of course. I mean, even people who remarry, I think that they mourn that first person that they lost, I would imagine. That does not mean, however, that 365 days a year, every day, which is that's the feeling I get when I watch these movies, is that she's like obsessing over this thing that happened long ago. I just like they're not going to get much more mileage out of this. I don't think this eternal love that she has with Chris Pine. I mean, you can't bring him back for a third Wonder Woman movie. I don't think after this. Like, I mean, if you're talking about like undercutting it to like what Mike was saying, I don't think you can do it again. Can you? Like, could you bring him back again?
Time travel going back.
Wait a minute. There's a Doctor Who.
Like, or would you? Would everyone just be like? Song? But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't working that much for me. And this is coming from, like, to me, you're going to watch it tonight, Andy, it sounds like. To me, the strength of the first movie is the chemistry between those two. That's the greatest strength in the movie.
I think that's better than the actual story of Wonder Woman.
Right.
Their connection. Yes.
And from the jump, it's like, it's perfect. It's really, really well done. And I was not, I mean, and it was just so predictable what was going to happen. Like, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was a dud, to be honest with you.
Now, someone who always brings up good points. I'm curious. Are we taking the superhero movie a little too seriously? We might be. I don't know. Maybe because we had so much. It was just built up so much that I think we in our mind we had to take it more seriously than your average, I guess.
I mean, this is one of the top 4 DC comics, correct? This is one of the 4 pillars that they've hung their whole house on, correct? There's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
She's essentially like the Thor version of DC, right?
Well, and that argument, like, I get it. You're right. Like, we are too passionate about this, like, nerd culture type stuff. But at the same time, it's like, why can't it be good? We've seen good ones.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason it can't be good. So I get to like, state my opinion when something I think is bad. The fact that it's a superhero movie or not, whatever kind of movie it is, I mean, it has a message it's trying to convey. If it's got sloppy writing, and it's a letdown as compared to the previous movie, then, I mean, I think it's fair game to criticize it. I mean,
there's plenty of comic books that they could have pulled, they could have read, and they could have pulled stuff from to find other options for, like, Chris Pine's character to be introduced if they really had to go that route. Just coming to mind right away is Brian K. Vaughan's writing of Wonder Woman from his early days, where Wonder Woman was made from special clay.
Mm-hmm.
They could have tapped that for even not as good as that was back then when they did it. They could have non-canon tapped something besides what they've done just to add it a little bit more for you.
I feel like Endgame set the bar pretty high for superhero movies for me. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was well written. I loved the characters. The actors brought the characters to life. Sadly, we're not going to get another Black Panther movie for obvious reasons, which I loved Black Panther. I loved that movie. I knew nothing about the comic, had no expectations, loved it. Wonder Woman, it's too well known. It has to be tight. The writing has to be tight. I'm sorry. It's like Superman. Look how bad that Superman did with
Brandon Routh.
Yes. Oh God, it was terrible. Where they shot the kryptonite into the ocean to make a new island. That was the Lex Luthor's evil plan to overtake the world by making more land that he owned. That was terrible.
Well, it's funny though, because I actually think as a film, I think Superman Returns is better than this. And I'm not.
It is
Superman
better, but it
Returns
was still
guy.
for a Superman movie. It was bad.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I would say the one good thing Zack Snyder has brought to us in this whole thing is Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. So I was very disappointed that,
but she's not
this. Well, whatever. You hang on to your old 70s
I will,
TV show, whatever. That's fine. That's fine. But the point is, regardless of you, Ken, the world embraced the first Wonder Woman. And it was the first DC movie. It was the first DC movie with, almost unanimous critical acclaim. And for them to follow it up with a stinker like this was disappointing. And it's not, like I said, it's not as bad as like Batman versus Superman or something. It's it's not a complete shit show of a mess where like you can't comprehend anything that's happening. But
like Netflix Daredevil.
Right, exactly. But it is not up to the level of the first movie, and therefore it's disappointing. So I'll flat out say, like, I'll give it a C. Like, it's like an average movie, So
John says, for me, it's more about consistency of not picking. I see several people saying they love BVS or Man of Steel, but crap on this movie. It's not fair. Yeah. As a DC, C. Woodard, what's up, buddy? As a DC fan, these movies just get frustrating to sit through because we all know how good these stories can be, but Warner execs fail time and time again to figure out what people want.
And I know there's a Black Panther 2 coming out, but obviously he's not coming back unless they have a wishing stone of their own. So I think I don't know how they're going to keep that franchise alive, because I think him as an actor, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm terrible.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yes. He made the character. I don't know.
Cobra Commander Gal says it's the Iron Man 3. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and honestly though, the thing about the Black Panther 2 thing, Ken, like I would be concerned, but Marvel has garnered so much faith in me to know that they're not gonna just shit the bed. I mean,
I hope
like
not.
Thor 2 maybe was a crappy one, but other than that, I mean,
now which one was Thor 2?
exactly. That's my
Elf.
point.
Evil elf. Yeah.
Was that Ragnarok?
Before we
No.
continue with this, we got another person here who wants. Sorry.
No, I was telling Ken that was 3. Thor
Cool.
3.
We got another person here who wants to put in their 2 cents for the film.
Is right.
Is it Fanny Pack Man? Oh no.
Back, man.
Hi.
The other half of DNP. What's up, Ed?
Yes.
Riley, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Celebrating the DC day.
The DC
So what are
day.
you making in your air fryer? Have you made pizza rolls yet?
My air fryer is still in its box underneath the Christmas tree.
I think we made French fries within 10 minutes of us bringing our air fryer into the house.
I have a kitchen, so
Fair enough.
True.
But our kitchen was done in the 70s, so
yeah, problematic.
Back when Linda Carter was still playing.
that's right. That's why I just look at her and I think of her dreamy eyes.
So, what do you think?
I loved the opening action sequence, so I know that you think like the storyline, it didn't change anything, like it didn't add anything to it, but I'm glad it was there.
I'm gonna take a rinse for a little bit.
I really enjoyed that. The gooey love story thing and the whole saying goodbye again, that's where it really lost me. Like I was already kind of gone, but that, like watching that was painful. Yeah, and I mean, I'll watch a good rom-com any day of the week, but not what I was looking for. And I just thought overall for an action movie, there wasn't enough action. Like it, I was like, where's the big, like the big fight scene was not a big fight scene, and it was
the action didn't look great either, besides that first opening scene. And I will say, Riley, I actually like the first scene too. I do think it connects because it's like the seed was planted in her as a little girl that you have to earn it. And you know, you can't just wish and get something. You can't cheat your way to it. So I thought it was thematically like, okay, like the beginning.
And especially when she was talking later about like how the golden lasso is like, it's not powerful because it's powerful. Like it's powerful because it is
It's
like
truth.
imbued with the power of truth, you know? And so like it gave that connection because obviously like we didn't know that, you know, going into it, you know, and she was talking about, you know, an object's just an object, you know, until you give it power or whatever in their world. So I agree. I think that opening scene was good and I'm glad it was there. I think so. But overall the movie was disappointing. I'm going with disappointing, trying to be nice.
Like I said, really, really high bars when it comes to movies.
You didn't see the first one, Andy, and I know Ken didn't like it, but the first one is really good. Like it tugged at my heartstrings a lot. I am a softie when it comes to stuff, so I'll admit that right away. But like their relationship in the first one, and the message of it. I mean, there's a World War I scene in there that I thought was just like fantastic. And the theme of the first one is basically like she's this innocent person because she's so ignorant. She's coming into this world that she's never seen, and everybody is just so like disgustingly negative, and she's just like Miss Positivity, like kind of just floating around in the clouds, and it's a cute character in the first one. But yeah, I thought the second one was it was a dud. It's just a boring dud, I thought.
I stopped watching the first one half an hour in, so
Well, you need to just get a move. Can we kick Ken out of here or what?
I think part of like, I don't think
ask
I
Riley, her opinion counts.
it, like with high expectations. I think for me, it was more, it's been so long since we had a new big action movie. Like, even though we weren't in the theaters, like freaking COVID like jacked everything up. And so I was ready for a good action movie and I did not get it.
And for the guy that said, "What were you doing?" I was watching it with my family in my living room. Thank you very much. And they didn't like it either. And they're all women. So,
Yeah.
Oh man.
I agree with the male stereotype comment as well.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous. Like everywhere they went, Riley, you're a woman. Is that how men treat you everywhere you go? And Michael, if so, why? Because you need to stop that.
Well, Mike probably does when she walks through the house, but
I mean, the whole thing about loving somebody eternally, we are going to make a deal pretty much just till death do us part. Once that's done, I'm out of the contract. Okay.
So basically, I'm going first. Apparently,
if you go first, I'm sorry, I'm done. Yeah. After that,
it was only till death, babe. We're done. Sorry, not coming back.
That's actually a running theme in our house because Curb Your Enthusiasm. There was they wanted to renew their wedding vows, and Larry David's wife gets upset because he doesn't say until it or through eternity, and he's like, "No, death do us part, death do us part." You know, and so that's like a running joke here. She always wants to say eternity. What's that?
Oh, if I ever tried that with Mike, a renewal, he'd be like, "No, you got one shot.
One, yeah.
Yep.
What do you mean? Just, we're not making amendments, okay?
Yeah, right.
This isn't the Bill of Rights.
I'm interested. I want to hear Andy's opinion on the first one after he watches it. I'm very intrigued by what he thinks of the first one, and especially if you liked the beginning scene, Andy, like in I forget the name of like the Amazon Kingdom or wherever it is.
Mascara.
Yeah. If you like that, there's a lot more of that in the first one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that you'll thoroughly enjoy the first one.
Yep.
I would agree. It'll probably actually make you like this movie even less.
Yes, that's the problem. And then there's Ken. He's just the Grinch. Can we just paint him green for the next episode?
You what?
Paint you green. You should just show up green, peeling the Christmas tree out of the back of the room. Walking off.
I've watched some of the most effed up movies I've watched in my life because you've wanted to review them. So I'm probably on a list somewhere after the treatment. So
Mac and me.
No, no, you gotta go watch the treatment.
I mean, we talked obviously to length about why we didn't like the movie. How about a couple of things that we liked about it?
I thought the bad guy was charming. I like Pedro
Pascal.
He was funny. Good. I like the relationship with his kid. I just think they dragged it out a little too long and it went a little too far. Like, but I liked him. I mean, I like her period just as a character. Like there's something intrinsically like nice and sweet about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. But yeah, there were more times in the movie where I was sitting there like, wait a minute, like this doesn't really make much sense. Or why are they shoehorning this villain of the week type of Smallville villain in here? There was a lot of junk, but I mean, the spirit of it was good. The effects were pretty good. A lot of people are bitching about bad CGI and that kind of stuff. I didn't really care. By
that point, who cares about the CGI? The rest of it's so bad you don't care.
Yeah. And I don't think like I feel bad because I'm tearing it to shreds, but like obviously there's way worse stuff than this, right? Yeah. As like throw it on for entertainment, I think it would be fine. But the problem is it's 2.5 hours long. That's what kind of kills that. So even as like just a mindless, fun action movie, it kind of fails in that respect, I would say. But,
it was too long. It was an hour too long. Yeah. If you could have cut it down, you could at least say, it wasn't a great movie, but it was enjoyable. But it just drug on and on. And I'll say one thing I did like about the movie is the end of the movie when she convinces Pedro to rescind his wish. I liked that whole, he's connected to the whole planet thing. And I just liked that, she kind of for like 1 second brought the whole world together, realizing that, you can't appreciate the good without the bad. And wishing away the bad is just going to make everything blow up in nuclear war.
Well, it was slick too, because like at first as she's giving her little speech, her little, I'm sitting there going, like, God, they're like beating me over the head with this. Why is she looking straight at me through the camera? Like, this is really awkward. And then when they showed you what she was doing, it was like, okay. that's kind of neat. I like
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was good. I thought that part was good. That scene was good, but you had to sit through 2.5 hours to get to that scene.
Yeah. Andy, how about you? What did you like about it?
Man, I'm gonna defend this movie a little bit more. I was simply entertained. I enjoyed it for 2.5 hours. I sat down and Gal Gadot strolls right into that Wonder Woman role for me. She has that je ne sais quoi, and just that's my Wonder Woman. I love her as Wonder Woman. After watching this movie more, I've seen the commercials, I've seen the advertisements. They were pumping this movie really hard. So I had lower expectations than you guys, but I did have some higher expectations and was hoping that it was really going to deliver me and bring me back into the 80s. I was simply put, I'd B minus C plus area. I was entertained and willing to sit down and have some popcorn and enjoy it. Just wish, I had that movie theater experience. I do agree with you guys. You guys are making very fair points. They shoehorned a lot of crap in there. They shoehorned the Cold War aspect in there that was very poorly handled.
Yeah.
Didn't really fit quite all that well, and it was very like, oh, here's some guys in fatigues, and we're going to call them the military, and they're dealing with the Cold War right now, and it's like,
that should have been Reagan in the White House, and whoever that guy that was supposed to be Reagan was not.
I don't think they were going for that.
Yeah, but it was 84. I mean,
when they were headed for the White House, I'm like, oh, are we going period correct or not? I'm like, nope. Okay, I get it now. But
did anyone else feel like they should have introduced kind of Maxwell Lord's backstory towards the beginning of the movie?
Yeah,
that's one of the things I actually liked about it. Like, I liked his kind of like, I got a kind of a Wolf of Wall Street feel where he was like building up his business, and then he's got the empty building, and I liked that. And
it's all a show.
That was there, like all pissed off at him. Like, I liked that beginning part of it. I wish they would have, I don't know, done more with that, because that is one of the things I did like.
Take the first 20 minutes away and rebuild that first 20 minutes as his backstory.
Don't take that opening.
The first 20 minutes is the Coliseum scene.
Well, you guys were just talking about how action scene backed up the action scene didn't fit quite well.
Yeah, but you don't want to get rid of the best action scene in the movie.
Get rid of the mall scene and add more backstory to him.
Yeah,
I think you just take because at the end we get a little glimpse of like his childhood, and I think you put that somewhere else because if that would have been earlier on in the movie, then I would have seen this connection between him and his kid that I really didn't get to see it till the end, where it's like, oh, he was treated like this, but it didn't really work well as a reveal, because at that point I'm just so checked out. I just kind of wanted it to end. I don't know. There's a few things in it that were like, I feel like they could have done better with even using this storyline. Like, I liked some aspects of it. It was a little bit heavy as far as the MacGuffin, which is, the thing that all the characters need to get, like the obvious plot device and the stone. But the first one was really basic too. So I appreciated the first one, but I didn't like it in this.
I wanted more backstory in his company and how he got there a little bit, 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever. Because my wife and I paused it and sat there for 3 minutes. We'll go, okay, wait, did he have the stone beforehand and that's how he built the company, or has he known about it this entire time?
No, he's been searching for it the entire time.
Well, that wasn't really laid out very well, as we can tell how they haven't been writing it very well, and things aren't laid out very well. So we sat there and actually talked for 5 minutes, and we're like, okay, and then we hit pause because we were like, I don't think they want us to think this hard about it. So
no, the stone is broken too, because really, like, why does he even need to steal the stone? Just pick it up and say your piece.
Yeah, why did he walk out of the office?
And everyone else had to say their wishes out loud. Wonder Woman didn't say her wish out loud, and he literally said, "Just say it out loud" at the end. He's like broadcasting.
So that's broken. She was just holding on to it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of broken stuff in here that I just don't like. I'm sorry, but again, I'm going to say the idea that he gets put in a random innocent dude's body and they don't even address the fact that they basically killed this guy is obnoxiously stupid. It's incredibly stupid. Like,
I don't understand too is when he rescinds his wish, wouldn't that just erase everything that happened?
Yeah.
After he absorbed the stone?
Yeah,
that's not the way it goes.
Did this movie even happen at the end of this movie?
It shouldn't have. It should have rescinded everything.
It all happened. It's just everyone would remember what happened.
I don't think they should have, though. If you rescind your wish, it undoes everything.
No, but you still remember it, though.
Yeah, he's right.
But when
Flat
it
out, it was
kid, everything's like trashed still. So that was after everybody rescinded their wishes, and still like he shows up in DC and it's like a wasteland.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you, Jackson. If they would have put his sequence, his backstory, like at the very beginning of the movie, or maybe in between the two action sequences in the beginning, it would have made his connection to his kid mean so much more than what we felt. Or
Like if they,
It's
like
like
if they'd shown it before he made the kid wish for his greatness.
sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then
Well,
it would have made that connection stronger, I think.
Think about like in Watchmen, if you didn't find out that Rorschach had like an abusive upbringing until the end of the movie or the series.
yeah.
Stupid.
But going to that, like the mall scene, because I keep coming back to this, is that added nothing. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter that those people stole
Well, but it introduced the MacGuffin.
anything.
It introduced the MacGuffin because it was being held in that jewelry store.
But it didn't need to, because they're already like antiquities people. Like it could just be in the museum. And
Yeah,
they're like,
that's true.
you know, this piece that we're like trying to figure out about it. Like nothing needed to be stolen. That never needed to happen.
Well, I think it was in '84 when the Inequities Act was put into enforced, wasn't it? That's when they made it illegal. That's when the black market for artifacts started, I thought.
Yeah,
Again,
but you
it
can
doesn't
easily,
matter that it's on the black market.
you
It
can
doesn't-
easily, yeah, you can
Right.
easily introduce like Indiana Jones movies do every time, which is like they already have the thing or they know about the thing they need to get, and they, you know, have the exposition dump where they explain to Indiana Jones what this thing is, so the audience knows what it is too. Yeah, I don't know why there's an action scene there.
Like that was completely pointless, and that was time spent that they could have, like, there's where they could have dove deeper into like his backstory and introduced more like that. The first action sequence was essential as far as I'm concerned. The second one was completely useless.
The only thing it did was introduce the stone to the Smithsonian. That's the only.
But again, it
it-
could have been there. Like
Yeah, but it
this
could have just been said, the FBI wants you to look at this thing. Like,
Yeah, they could have just brought it in. Hey, the police have a case. Can you identify it? Yeah, okay, I guess I see what you're saying.
Okay. So this is my question. Here's another plot hole that I'm wondering if you guys can help me out with, because when Gal Gadot goes back and looks at that box that the stone was pulled out of at the Smithsonian, she pulls the packing material out and it had his receipt there in the bottom for Max. I'm like, okay, so did he own it beforehand?
no, he had placed an.
He'd ordered
I
it.
didn't know until just now, Andy. It just clicked because I was confused by that too. But I'm guessing he had paid for it and
Yeah.
he was going to get it from the criminals or from the diamond store, and then it got stolen, so he never got it.
Yeah,
The
shop receipt, like he had like it, I don't know, somewhere in his.
he was smuggling it into the country, and the jewelry shop was a front for the smuggling of
Right.
the artifacts.
Well, and
He get
nobody
paid them.
looked in that box and
No,
found
that's the
that
FBI.
receipt.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like when somebody robs somebody, they give them their card, be like, "Hey, if you want to be, can you give me a review on how I robbed you?" kind of thing.
It's and you know, these are the things where it's like I know I could probably never write a movie. You know, I'm not that talented of a guy to write a screenplay, but when I watch something like this and all the resources they have and all of the people that get their eyes and hands on this before it comes out, like how does stuff like that not get, you know, just completely taken out of the movie before I see it? I just don't get it.
I would watch a movie with a screenplay written by you, Jackson.
Probably wouldn't want to, actually. It would be,
Probably be like Zach and
That would
Miri.
be a bit fucked up.
it would be pretty fucked up, yes, but
and even more so with this movie because it's been longer and because like this is the first one that's come out in a while. Like you needed to nail this.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh yeah. This had to be a home run. Yep.
You needed this to do really well, especially who knows how much longer like all this COVID crap's gonna last. Like if you want people to continue watching these like from home and everything, you needed to be like, oh, this was great. We're gonna keep doing this. And
yeah, all I know is Mortal Kombat in April's going to knock it out of the park, baby.
All I can say is that I hope people are listening to the complaints about this movie and they make sure Dune is perfect. when it gets released.
Oh,
I don't care about anything else. Everything else can just fall into a black hole and disappear.
Dune will be very close to perfect. I guarantee it.
Oh,
Okay, then we need to be back here for this discussion.
Oh,
when it
yeah.
happens, but
yeah.
I'm holding out my hopes for Top Gun. However, they release it, the new one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Top Gun.
I'm
Lots
hoping-
of guys with their shirts off. There better be. I mean, that's what I go to Top Gun to see. You
I'm
know.
hoping for,
as somebody that watches This Is Us, I expect nothing less from you.
Season 3. Who's down?
What?
No,
Cobra Kai. Yeah, like next
Cobra Kai,
week.
yes.
week. Yes.
Are we
Oh,
going to
yeah.
do a show on Cobra Kai? Are
We
you
should.
ready for that?
I love that.
I
thought
never
it was great.
bothered to watch the first 2
Oh,
seasons.
dude, dude, Andy, if you started that show tomorrow, if you started that show tomorrow, you'll be done by Monday night.
Oh,
Like,
easy.
it
Been
is, you can't stop watching the goddamn thing, and it's so cheesy and
Ralph
stupid. And
Macchio is a train wreck.
It is great. All
It is
right.
great.
We're creeping up in an hour. Is there anything else we need to talk about this movie? Talk about? I
Nope.
think we did everything. How about overall grades all the way around? Ken?
I'll give it a C.
C? Andy?
C.
I'll give it a B minus.
Okay, cool. Jackson?
I was going to give it a C, and I might have said C earlier, but I'm going to say C minus. I was disappointed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with D plus. I don't think I'll be seeing this again. Not something I would watch again. So
I was like, I'm gonna go turn it on right now.
yeah,
I'm a C too.
you're C.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
You see that how we treat women? You just went right by her, Mike. Just the Wonder Woman was right. You just went right by.
Yeah, I'll show it.
He was going for the D. So
Oh,
Make me down by me.
But Andy, yes, report back to me how you like the original, or not the. Yeah, I'm going to call it the original just to piss Ken off. The original Wonder Woman. From
I'll try to watch it this weekend. I am a little tied up though because I entered the World
Lasso of Truth?
Kleptomaniac. I entered the World Kleptomaniac Championships, and I'm planning on taking home the gold, the silver, and the bronze.
Womp, womp, womp.
You're something else. Oh, and we've got to talk about From Hell here
Yes.
soon. But
Oh, we do. Yes, eventually. So hey, Andy, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, buddy?
Oh, yeah, you guys can find me on here. You guys can find me on the Comic Core channel. You guys can find me on the Pinkies Out podcast on Anchor FM. You guys can find me on my own channel, which conveniently there's a holiday giveaway going on, and simply just pop over there, look for the giveaway video. It should be the first thing you see when you get to the channel, and watch it. It's like 6 minutes long. Check it out and enter.
Hell yeah, cool. Make sure you guys check them out. Ken.
You can find me on your guys' channel every other week, being the old guy and giving perspective on old guy stuff. So, or you can find me on Pinkies Out podcast, and I go watch his giveaway. But you will be disappointed; he is not wearing that short robe he put on his thumbnail.
Jackson.
yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Mike's YouTube channel. The website's in the link here. Yeah, that's about it right now. Hopefully more stuff actually being uploaded to podcast platforms shortly. But yeah, it's been a goofy, weird year. It's been tough to do anything, even though I have so much time. It's just weird. I can't explain it. I just feel like I don't want to do anything, and I'm annoyed that I can't do anything all at the same time. So, but yeah, thank you for the offer up of having this Christmas idea.
Had a great time. Cool.
Merry Christmas to everyone, by the way.
Yeah. And you can find us at the Downright Nerdy podcast YouTube channel, which is right here. You could also find me over on Jackson's channel every other week, and also on Jackson and Andy's channel for our comic review, which we should be almost done with From Hell.
Gideon Falls will be next.
Gideon Falls will be next. Yep, we got to finish that, and Saga whenever it comes out. And I think this upcoming weekend, either Sunday or Monday, Jackson, Ken, Cookie, and Fake Nerds, and Paul will be reviewing Wrath of the Titans. This is the sequel to Sam Worthington's Clash. So, yeah, make sure you guys check us out there. Follow us on Instagram to find out where, when, and where all that stuff's happening. So,
Hold on, isn't this where Riley has to list all the platforms that
Oh.
your show is
We
on?
need to do it.
I haven't done that in like a year.
All right, hey, babe, where can we find us?
Everywhere.
Hey,
And that's why he's the executive producer. So
That's why.
everybody in the chat, John, Chaos, Gore, everybody, Lasso, thank you guys all for hanging out with us for a little bit here on Christmas. Hope you guys had a safe holiday. Enjoy your time with your families, and have a safe New Year if we don't see you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.